Hello and welcome to Scott Schilling Speaks. I'm your host, Scott Schilling, and this is a show that you're going to want to probably get a pad of paper and a pen and just write some concepts down because there's going to be a lot of information. And I'm going to guess you're going to learn some things that you never knew even existed. Excited to have my guest here today, longtime friend, um, just an amazing person of God, and somebody who is working to help so many people on a daily basis as the vice president of Everyday Wealth Advisors. My good friend Jim Gregg. Jim, thanks for joining us. Jim Gregg. Did I say Craig? I think it came out as Craig, but it's Greg.
Hi, Scott. How are you? Honored to be on your show today.
I apologize for that. I'm not sure how that even came out that way. That's pretty funny. Anyway, so let's talk about Everyday Wealth Advisors and really what you and your team are putting together.
Well, Scott, we started with this concept about a year ago. Started talking about partnering up with different friends and different experienced people in the industry. One of our good friends, Mike Unkelbach, has been in the financial and insurance industry for 43 years. And I actually introduced this concept to him on a deeper dive level. And I'm fortunate to work with my son, Ryan. We've done a lot of entrepreneurial stuff, including construction for 34 years. So when we wrapped our head around some of the things we're doing at Everyday Wealth, we decided to partner up. We have 5 partners. And even though we started in as an official company at the beginning of this year, we have, and I tried to count about 92 years of experience. Wow. Within the 5 people part of our company. So we didn't wake up and go, oh, we're going to get into this and we're going to try something new. We have experience in the industry. So it's just really exciting that what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about it. We'll might as well spill the beans, and we're going to talk about infinite banking and what that all means. Now, what's interesting is I had been exposed to this concept about 5 years ago by a friend, and I said, "Man, that's got to be too good to be true." And he kept on encouraging me to learn more about it. And it really wasn't until you and Mike and the team that you've assembled started talking to me again that I went, how could I be so silly not to want to know about this? I've got to know what this is and why. Right?
Well, yeah, when I kind of think about it as a child, sometimes you can't get their attention, and then other times you have to just go, listen to me, pay attention. And we're kind of like that at Everyday Wealth. We feel we have something that is literally life-changing and game-changing for people's financial structure and their foundation. And we'd be remiss and remorse if we didn't share this with the masses. And that's what our goal is, to get this concept out there, but be more of an educational platform than a sales platform. This isn't for everyone, although I think this is the foundational piece to many people's finances, because we look at helping our clients become more efficient with the dollars that they have, whether it's the income coming in each month or whether they have retirement funds set aside. The key thing that we find out with most clients is they're not being as efficient as they can with those dollars. And the time spent, you spend this time working very hard for your money, but then it doesn't seem like you have enough money. And so we help leverage that time and those dollars to become more efficient. And the next thing you know, they have more money to work with. So,
well, I think that's a financial literacy and financial education are probably 2 pillars that are the least known and least taught as we've grown up, and quite frankly, as we've gotten more mature. Code word for older, right?
No, yeah, absolutely.
We just have not invested in financial literacy, and really, we think that money just shows up, and gosh, we don't have to really be stewards of it sometimes, right?
Well, that's it. And the other thing is, in our busy society, we're head down and butt up, and we never look up long enough to figure out, well, there's other things that are flying by us, and we've got to be able to be focused enough and aware enough to grab hold of those things. And that's what we're trying to do, is just be, again, the educational platform to get people to stop long enough to look at their financial structure as it is now. And we come in as financial wealth coaches to figure out how can we leverage those dollars more efficiently. And once people can stop and do that, they're pretty amazed at how much we can help them from this day forward.
I know I went to one of the Everyday Wealth um, events, seminars, webinar, however you want to call it, right? It was happened to be a live event. And some of the concepts that were shared, I mean, it's one of those things where you kind of thump, it's the old pound your forehead and go, who'd have thunk, right?
Yeah.
My goodness, how do I not know this? And so I love the fact that Everyday Wealth is really about educating people on choices.
On choices,
And,
absolutely.
and once they have the choices, they can do better things with it. So I love the entire efficiency side of it. How can people give a little tip on just to start the process on how they can become more efficient?
Well, so most people go out and work hard for $1 and then they spend that dollar. Now, not to say they don't invest some of those dollars, but just imagine if you can leverage that same dollar and give it two different jobs. So you put it into a growth environment, but be able to use it to grow it somewhere else. So you're giving that dollar two different avenues to actually grow, versus making the money, putting it in your bank account, and then spending it. That's how we help people become more efficient with those dollars. And they're pretty amazed. And we work with multimillionaires, we work with teachers, we work with every facet of life, every industry, we have clients. And that's the beautiful thing about it. That's why we call our company Everyday Wealth, because it really is for the everyday guy. It doesn't have to be for the millionaire or the multimillionaire. And so the other thing about it is we help people become more efficient from a tax perspective. So the growth that we have inside of some of the concepts is tax-free.
Well, that's going to be even more important in this day and age. My guest a couple of days ago was sharing some of the actions that the new IRS is taking, and certainly tax protection and those kinds of pieces of knowledge are going to be far more important. But I love the idea of gaining efficiency with the same dollar, that in essence you can spend and save at the same time.
It's pretty
Sounds a
incredible.
little bit like an oxymoron, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And when we show this concept and other strategies that we use, people say, well, first of all, why didn't I hear about this? Well, it's not mainstream. I mean, some of the concepts and strategies we use have been in existence for a couple hundred years, but they're just not mainstream. So that's where we come in. We educate and we say the very wealthiest of the wealthiest, the banks, corporations use these strategies. So why shouldn't we use the same strategies for our finances? And so that's what we do. We connect the dots for people. And once they're educated and they have the information, then they can make very wise decisions for their money.
I think that's one of the um, one of those parts of this that is so amazing is this is how the wealthy became wealthy and or grew their wealth in many cases. And quite frankly, this was close hold for a lot of years, meaning that only the wealthy were taught these concepts and implemented these concepts. And now that's why I love the everyday wealth, as you say it, because really everyone every day gaining the knowledge can take advantage of these concepts and techniques as well, correct?
Correct. And our philosophy at Everyday Wealth is always to do what's right by the client. That's why we have several different strategies, not just infinite banking, but we do other things in combination with that. But we really believe that that's the foundational piece to a portfolio. And the portfolio managers that we use, they've been the best portfolio managers on the planet for hundreds of years. So they know what they're doing, and putting our clients' monies in their hand is pretty incredible what they do with it. And the other thing I want to make sure that people know, some of the strategies we use, there are guaranteed growth rates. So in other words, when you put your money in these concepts and vehicles and an IBC type concept, there are guaranteed growth rates. So it doesn't go down, doesn't go up. You never lose money, never lose money. Let me underline that. So that's the efficiency part. If you don't lose money and you're always gaining, that's a strategy that everyone wants to be a part of. And we've also got other strategies combined with that you can risk a little bit of that and be a little more risky in the market. So again, we want to do what's right for the client, Scott, in every situation.
I think that's one of the exciting things, again, is really matching people's plans and your approach with them to their needs and their desires going forward. There are multiple opportunities. I know, again, I learned about the concept 5 years ago, but I didn't really dive into it myself. And until you and Mike and Ryan, kind of sat me down for a minute and said, have you really seen this? Well, I've heard of it. Have I really seen it? And all of a sudden you look at it and you go, man, I thought I was a smart guy at one time. I guess there's still things to learn, right? And
it's really funny, but I had to take Mike to lunch 3 times to get him to sit down and listen, because he was blown and going with what he was doing in his life. He's been very successful in this industry. And I finally said, brother, you're killing me. Just sit down. Let me send you some information and stop long enough. And once he did, he went down that proverbial rabbit hole, and here we are today. So,
well, again, I think that's the reality is probably our financial training or our financial knowledge basically came, my guess, in most people's cases, through their parents. If their parents had financial plans and had financial knowledge, you may have some. But if they weren't around or they didn't have it, you've kind of got the level of financial education they have, simply because people haven't taken the time to do what Everyday Wealth and what is being done at this organization now, which is educating people. At least make an educated decision. But the key to making an educated decision is having education. Novel concept, right?
Exactly. And we, the cool thing about it is we've also partnered with several, financial planners and strategists and things, because they didn't know about this either. They've gone down a particular path. They were taught things. They studied certain things, but they didn't even know about it. And once they found out about how we use this as part of the financial foundational piece, they have started to use it in their practice also. So it's a beautiful thing. It's not an either or, it's the and asset. And we've partnered with Caleb Gilliams, who has been in the industry a little while. And so we've got a strategic partnership with Caleb and his team. And again, our ethos in this company is to get these concepts out to the masses, educate people, and truly serve our clients. And that's what we're put on this earth to do, is to serve each other. And that's what we do at Everyday Wealth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away by the level of service and the desire to, again, educate first. You can't make an educated decision if you don't have the education. It just doesn't happen. And so to let them know and to let everybody know, like I say, I was blown away. And immediately, um, when it comes to your awareness, it's an overused term. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's like
Yes.
I've got to I've got to take the time to learn about this and see how it can positively impact my financial position and my financial life going forward. I know that had I acted on this years ago, my life would be totally different today. I know that to be true. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who can say that. Correct?
I can raise my hand. I wish I would have known about this 20 years ago. Um, but God's always got a plan, and we're sitting here together because we want to share this message to the masses. If I would have known about this 20 years ago, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. But we're just so passionate about serving our clients, helping our clients. And again, in our society today, financial stress is at an all-time high.
Yes.
And if we can help, Scott, if we can help alleviate that for our clients so that they can literally lift their head up and see the road ahead of them, not as a treadmill, just running as fast as they can, trying to pay their bills, but bring joy and a little more peace to the table. That's what we're all about.
Well, I love the fact that in the reality that these concepts can be applied for next to nothing, and then grow over time. Or if you already have some pretty good wherewithal that you want to actually change and protect in a different way and then grow from there. Anywhere along the way, it truly is basically for everyone.
Absolutely. And your dog agreed.
It's exactly Willie said. I'm in. But,
I'm in. I'm in. So, bottom line here is we're training people and educating people on efficiency hacks. That's what we like to refer to as is an efficiency hack for their money, efficiency hack for their finances going forward. And then one of the other key things we teach is family legacy. So the richest families in the world and in the country, that's how they've done this. They've taught these principles to generations. And so they build generational wealth, growth, and security, and their families are taken care of for generations. And what more do we want to do than help our kids, grandkids, great grandkids do that? So
such an admirable pursuit because again, legacy and there's a pretty good manual that says we're supposed to create generational wealth way past us. And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people have really taken that to heart, or they've just been caught up in the, my God, who planned for a pandemic? Who planned for something like this to happen, and the financial impacts that have had along the way? But we can actually come through these financial impacts that have happened over the last year and a half or 2 years, and with a little extra and a little new knowledge, really probably set ourselves up better than we've ever been set up in our lives to date. Correct?
Amen. Amen. And just imagine in our lives, if we can be more efficient with our money, grow our money, keep it protected, and leverage all those dollars, how much better off we could actually be in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. That's the whole key, is we never lose money in what we do, ever. We always grow that dollar.
Let that sink in. We'll never lose money. I'm pretty
in our
sure
concepts and strategies, we never lose money. We're always gaining traction. And if you never lose
awesome.
money, it's a lot more efficient. Your whole financial structure will completely change, and you'll never lose money. I mean, Warren Buffett says it best. Well, first point, never lose money. Second point, pay attention to the first point, never lose money. That's what we do for our clients.
Well, again, I think it's something that, there are going to be people watching this show or listening to this and say, what? Never lose money. Come on, how can that be? But as you said, this is actually, these are guaranteed concepts that have a rate of return that is guaranteed, that grows over time. And um, gosh, that's got to make you sleep a lot better at night, doesn't
We sleep very well,
it?
especially as we're helping people and educating people. We're just excited for the future. Our company's growing rapidly. We're bringing on more people that have the same heart to serve people. And it's pretty amazing what God has done really in the last 6 months of our lives. It's been incredible. And we know it's him. We give him in the honor, because what's transpired in our lives the last 6 months could not be done without his hand all over it. So we're so excited for the future.
Yeah, totally agree. You can see the path opening up, and again, I think one of the things that's so admirable and actually exciting about this, in working with Everyday Wealth and in moving this forward to share with more people so that they know. Don't believe what we're saying up front. Set up a strategy session. Actually sit down and let us educate and walk you through these things, because the reality is, once you see it, seeing is believing, because the facts are all
Absolutely.
there, right?
The facts are all there. And again, it's not just we didn't fall off a turnip truck and come up with these strategies. They've been in existence for hundreds of
That,
years.
I mean,
And
that's the part that blows me away.
yeah, and with very large companies. So again, we partnered with some amazing companies, and we vetted them as much as they vetted us, because we wanted the right strategic partners in this. And the people we deal with on a very high level, they have the same heart to serve people. So that's a perfect match made in heaven when you have people come together and lock arms and have the same ethos, the same goals and aspirations to serve people. So
Again, very, very exciting, very admirable that this really comes down to a group that has come together that wants to serve the greater good. And part of that is financial literacy, financial wherewithal, having that foundation, because it's interesting. As a professional speaker, I've been asked before, Scott, when's enough enough? And one of my other speaker buddies had the best answer to that I've ever heard of. Enough to live on, or enough to serve the greater good? And if you have enough to live on, and you have enough to create the generational wealth and do all those things, and you got more than you need or want, guess what? There are a lot of people that you could help along the way, right?
amen. Amen.
I just love what's going on. So what other tips, or how do we encourage people to either set up the strategy sessions or to just give us a call?
Well, that's what I would do is, when you don't know what you don't know, you have to go find out about it, and we can help you do that. We sit down with people and we look at their financial structure now, money's in, money out, and we really coach them through the process along with educate them. And again, we have strategic partners that can help us along the way. So we surround ourselves with a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and we come together. We look at the whole portfolio. We look at the strategies that they're using and some of the tweaks, some of the additions that we can use. The only way we can do that is when you sit down with us, and we provide that service for free. So it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot to gain, and there's also a lot to lose by not doing it.
I think that's the biggest thing is plausible deniability. I mean,
Yes.
once you know something exists, you now have to take some action towards it. You can no longer say, boy, I didn't know. That's one of the reasons we're doing this on the show, and we'll turn this into podcasts, and we'll blast this message out as far and wide as we can. And if you want more information on it, reach out to me, Scott@scottschilling.com. If you want a strategy session, we'll put it together for you. Scott@scottschilling.com, because at least find out about it. Do yourself that favor to learn what you more than likely don't know. And I only say it from the standpoint of I've been around a lot of financial planners and a lot of people for a lot of years, and I didn't know. And it's okay if you don't know, right? Jim,
Absolutely.
until you were exposed to it, you were kind of the same way, right?
Yes. I've been blessed to make a lot of money and use different financial strategies in my lifetime. But again, oh boy, would this have been a game changer if I would have known about it 20 years ago. It would have changed everything. So yeah, I encourage everyone watching, get a hold of Scott. Let's sit down. Let's look at what you're doing now and allow us to educate you and help you with your financial foundations and strategies going forward. And I can honestly say, Scott, that when people find out about this, there's very rarely a time that they don't engage with us. It's just too good not to engage.
Yeah, when you find something that truly serves you, serves your family, your future, your generational future, all those kinds of things, it just makes sense to take the action. And it doesn't have to be everything you got, or it can be a small start to whatever works out best for you. It's really, again, it's a strategy, right? It's setting your financial future into place. And most people, their financial future is, gosh, I hope I get a check next week. And
Amen.
I
Amen.
got to tell you, it's not much fun, and it's no way to do it. And especially with some of the difficulties coming through the pandemic and what's happened, there are people who right now have wherewithal that they don't realize they have, but could if they were educated, right?
Amen. Amen. Well, I bring up this point pretty regularly that if banks take 25% of their tier one capital and invest in these strategies, that's got to tell you something. They have literally billions and billions of dollars working inside of this concept, and it keeps growing. Why? Well, answer your own question.
Because it's working.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought that was a test there.
Well, yeah, it was, and you answered it correctly.
Yeah, again, let that sink in. 25% of their tier one money is put into these concepts, and they've been doing it for years, and they're called banks. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
And now those same concepts, that same knowledge is available to each and every one of us, quite frankly. And again, I encourage you to at least learn. That's the start. Learn that there's something different out there. I know that I talk about this in many of my talks from stage. I'll ask people to raise their hands. By a show of hands, how many of you don't know what you don't know? Is it fair to say somebody doesn't know what somebody knows what you don't know? Is it even possible we know what you don't know? Suspend disbelief for a little period of time. And again, reach out, Scott@scottschilling.com, set up a strategy session with the team. There's number one, amazing people that truly want to lift you up and help you have a better life going forward, quite frankly. Because I would say financial wherewithal gives you a better life, doesn't it, Jim, in many cases?
Yes, it sure does. I refer to it often as a financial deliverance ministry.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
It,
that's kind of a term that came to me a while back, and we're delivering people from the stresses of their financial picture right now just by coaching them and helping them. And so we're delivering them from the stress that they go through every single day. And there's a lot of people, as we discussed early on, a lot of people are under financial stress and they don't know what to do. They don't know what they don't know. So that's where we come in.
yeah, I totally agree. And amazing financial stress is one of the leading causes of divorce. It's one of the leading causes of health failures, quite frankly, because the stress becomes so great that your body just kind of gives out. Well, not that we're in the wellness business, but it's kind of the wellness business, because when you're financially sound, it makes a difference, right?
It affects us every way. So it affects us financially, spiritually, physically. That's a big deal. That's a big
Absolutely.
deal.
Absolutely. Okay. We're hard to believe we're running tight on time here. Leave everybody with one last little piece of wisdom.
Just look into it. Just look into it. Stop long enough to find out what you don't know. Let us help educate you and see if this can really be a life-changing circumstance for you. And I believe it can. And we will bring value to you one way or the other. Whether you do business with us or not, that's not it. What is it? Is the fact that we will bring valuable information to your doorstep and help you navigate your financial future.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Thanks, Jim, for joining me here. Again, reach out, Scott@scottschilling.com. We'll hook everything together for you. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us here on Scott Schilling Speaks today. Thank my guest, Jim Gregg, for just some great wisdom. I know I always learn things when we're together, and look forward to seeing you again on Monday. God bless. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.